affair, but signs that it may warm up again towards the end of the week. Ben.
Thank you very much. And that's today's BBC News at 1. Now it's time to join our colleagues across the nations and the regions for the news where you are. But from me, do have a very good afternoon.
Thank you, Ben. Good afternoon. I'm Steve Saul. Welcome to North West Today. Our top story this Friday lunchtime. A major incident's been declared after a school coach overturns on the motorway. A woman's been taken to hospital. Almost 50 other patients are being assessed at the scene. Breaking news today, North West Ambulance has declared a major incident after a school coach overturned on the M53 in Wirral. They say one female patient's been taken to hospital. She's suffering from major trauma. Almost 50 other patients have been assessed at the scene. Most of those were school pupils. Let's go live to our reporter Eunice Muller, who's close to the scene. Eunice, what's happened?
Steve, this is a developing situation, a major incident declared by a number of different agencies, and they will clearly have plans in place to deal with this kind of emergency situation and any casualties. What we understand is that around 8 o'clock this morning there was a collision here on the M53 just beyond Junction 5 involving a school bus packed with children. We understand those children were from two West Kirby schools, Calday Grange Grammar and also West Kirby Girls Grammar School. Now clearly in this kind of situation we had not only helicopters but also paramedics and a number of police vehicles immediately at the scene. Those on board were assessed for any injuries and they were taken to two different hospitals, Arrow Park and also Alder Hey. Now the schools have responded. They tweeted today that a situation involving one of our school buses on the highway earlier today has come to our attention. If you need to talk or seek guidance, please reach out to our teaching and pastoral teams.
Eunice, we've been getting reaction all throughout the morning. What are people saying?
Naturally, there's a lot of concern. Everyone wants to let those families know that the thoughts are with them at this moment in time. We've had comments from the local authority, of course, but also from a number of MPs, including Angela Eagle for Wallasey, who says her thoughts are with everyone involved. The same kind of comments from Alison McGovern, MP for Wirral South as well. Now, later this afternoon, we should find out more about what happened, who's been affected, and what led to this collision.
OK, Eunice, close to the M53, thanks very much indeed. Well, a major incident has been declared by the emergency services. Hospitals are being put on standby. Let's go live now to our reporter Nick Garnett, who's outside Alder Hey for us this lunchtime. Nick, what's the situation there?
Those injured were brought to the hospital. We don't know exactly how many because some were taken to the nearest hospital, which is Arrow Park. But this, of course, is a specialist children's hospital, which is where they can be treated. They put their emergency plan into operation. That means calling off-duty staff to come in and prioritising A and D. But the hospital says the message here is that everything else in the hospital is remaining open. If you've got a clinic or an appointment, you are to attend as normal. The hospital says that it's now received all those that were injured in the crash who need treatment here. They are here and they are being looked after, and that the hospital can cope. Its major incident plan is in operation and is working properly.
OK, Nick Garnett, outside Alder Hey, thanks very much indeed. There is a live blog. You can keep up to date with the latest on the BBC News website and on BBC Radio Merseyside. We are hearing that there'll be a press conference with more details this afternoon at 2:30. See more on that on the BBC News website. Now, other news this lunchtime. Labour MP for Wigan is calling on the government to reveal the costs around HS2. Now, yesterday, the Prime Minister refused to confirm whether the line north of Birmingham will go ahead or not. Lisa Nandy says the north will be condemned to misery without modern railway lines.
Because Manchester is completely clogged up, because the infrastructure that we've got was built in Victorian times, and unless we sort that out, the north will be condemned to this sort of misery, not just for decades, but as Andy Burnham said, for 50 or 100 years. That's what High Speed 2 was designed to solve, and instead what we've got is the absurd spectacle this week of a Prime Minister who has spent £25 billion of our money on this railway, now saying that a line that was supposed to go from London to the north is going to go neither to London or the north. It's ridiculous. That's why we're saying to the government, open up the books and tell us what the actual hole is that you've blown in the finances.
And last hour, Manchester United have confirmed the Brazilian winger Antony has returned to training after allegations of domestic abuse were made against him. It's understood the 23-year-old spoke with Greater Manchester Police on Thursday and no restrictions were placed on him following the interview. United sources say he's provided evidence to support his strong denials of the allegations. He's not been arrested or charged. Her Royal Highness the Princess Royal is meeting veterans and members of the armed services at a special ceremony in Southport. Princess Anne is visiting the town to mark the rededication of the War Memorial. The landmark in London Square on Lord Street is 100 years old in November. Now, the BBC's 500 Words competition is back, with children aged between 5 and 11 all being invited to write a story themselves they would love to read. And it was launched this morning at Haverley Hay Community School in Manchester, and Ian Haslam was there.
For these Wythenshawe School children, it was a morning of literary inspiration.
It's a writing competition for young people, primary school aged, and they can write a story in 500 words or less. You just need to use your imagination.
And that's exactly what these young writers have been doing.
She dug and dug until she fell in a long, deep hole. Ah!
Tell me about your story, Naima.
It's about a girl called Rose. She was going to go and dig a pot of gold. She fell inside a big hole, and then after 1 hour, a brave prince came, and then she kissed him on the cheek.
Whoa!
Inspiration was provided by CBeebies presenter and author George Webster.
Each one of us is different, just like pebbles at the seaside. Together, make a bigger splash and spread our glow far and wide. To see kids wanting to write their stories with amazing ideas is so important for their futures, because they can see me achieving my dreams and they can achieve their dreams.
Meanwhile, back with the young writers.
Once upon a time, in a quiet, cosy meadow, there lived a young bunny named Benny. I like Bunny, so I wrote a story about a bunny going on an adventure.
Wow. Toad! Frog shouted as he peered into Toad's window. So he's like, Toad, you've got to wake up. The snow has melted, the sun is shining, you've got to come out. I've not finished it yet. There's still like 2 pages left to do.
500 Words closes on Friday, 10th of November. Ian Haslam, BBC North West Today.
Right, let's get a check of the weather. Details come from Anna Church. Oh, we'll get the weather very shortly, but first let me just take you back to Eunice Muller, who's live in Wirral for us at the N53, where there's been that serious accident with the coach this morning. Eunice, we're hearing details now of a press conference at 2:30, aren't we?
Well, this is, as I say, a developing situation more than 5 hours now since this incident occurred here on the M53, and we expect further details about what happened, why that school bus packed with children ended up on its side. There were, we understand, a number of injuries. There's only confirmation about 1 injury so far to a woman who suffered injuries down because of traumatic nature of what she witnessed, I presume, but they were traumatic injuries. We should find out for certain, really, later how many people have been affected and what could have led to this collision here and to this incident on the M53.
OK, Eunice, thanks very much indeed. Right, here is the weather now from Anna.
Good afternoon. Well, it's a brighter day out there, isn't it? Most of us will expect to get some sunshine. That's down to a ridge of high pressure that's building in from the south. It's brief, though. We do have this area of rain pushing in throughout Saturday, so more unsettled to start the weekend. But a pleasant day out there still. The potential 1 or 2 isolated showers feeding through, broken clouds, sunny spells and highs of 18 degrees for many of us. So a fairly warm day for the time of the year. Now, overnight tonight, still that potential for 1 or 2 isolated showers, but predominantly dry with clear skies for many of us. A chillier night than last night, with temperatures in single figures down to 8 degrees Celsius. For Saturday then, if you're up early, a dry start. It is blustery at times with wind gusts of 30 to 35 miles per hour. The rain is set to sweep in through the day. At times this could be quite heavy, and highs of 16.
That's it for now. We're back with the latest on the crash at 6:30. Bye-bye.
Doesn't matter if you're a multi-millionaire or if you've grown up in a council estate, we will turn you into a soldier.